And hello, everyone, and welcome to another round. This is the start of the semifinals for the Final Fantasy and Mystic Quest Randomizer Tournament on Speedgaming Live 2024. I am Hatox, and I'm joined by Atelier. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I've mainly done the tracking for a few of the prior races, but excited to be sitting here with Hatox to do the commentary.
Okay, so on this one, got the 2024 flags, which means that our racers tonight, farfelu and ipsTee, you have a match of two of the former winners, farfelu winning the 2022 version, and T winning last year's version.
Yeah,
Our partner, yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely exciting to see that. Prior champions going head to head. Hopefully, we see a really, really good match between them.
Yep. So our runners partners tonight will be Kaylee and Ruben. So they'll have their choice of which of those two they want to use or switch between throughout the game and take to the Dark King fight. But the starting is random.
And for the quests for those individuals, we've got, for Kaylee, clear the mine battlefield, save the Crystal of Earth, defeat 5 mini-bosses, and save the Crystal of Wind. And Ruben, collect 21 refreshers, defeat Minotaur, someone's hiding in one of the tree houses for a live forest, and clear 16 battlefields. And it does look like the runners are starting out with Kaylee.
All right, so both our runners heading into Sand Temple. Since Tristram is not one of our available companions for this run, talking to Tristram will push him to his Bone Dungeon location where he'll give us his first item.
Oh. It looks like the mine battlefield is also an item check, so that'll clear 2 birds with 1 stone there.
You really love to see it when you can do 2 checks at the same time. So those battlefields in the randomizer, when we've shuffled what they have, and T going into Foresta and getting a sand coin right there from the old man's house, and a sky fragment from the free inn. The battlefields, when you see a blue battlefield tiled with a treasure chest icon, that means that it is an inventory item reward. A gray battlefield with 2 swords on it is going to be an experience reward. And a green battlefield with a gill icon is going to be a gold reward.
Yeah, and those looks like Farfelu's having a little bit of issues with those fire lizards. Not too surprising. It is the mines battlefield. It is one of the harder ones early on to deal with, unless you roll really well on both the damage that they need to take and the formation and their skills. So good to check that. Kind of sucks that he wasn't able to get it done that first time. But T looking like they're hitting up some of the other battlefields to maybe gain some levels just to possibly set themselves up for it. Was that a Doom Gaze?
That very much looked like a Doom Gaze coming out of a mint. So you have some of the weakest enemies right there coming out with some of the strongest attacks.
Oof. Unfortunate.
So Farfelu taking one of the gold battlefields, this zombie minotaur battlefield being very early on for us to level battlefield, and getting some gold out of it.
Oh. I missed that too, but it looks like the lizards also have the Doom Gaze.
So far out of these lizards, yeah, we've seen Doom Gaze, we've seen Paralyze, all of the really strong status effects that you don't want to see coming out of enemies.
Especially not ones that are early on. And they are not just set. Oh, Farfelu, actually, as I'm speaking of it, deciding to leave and go check the Sandcoin area as opposed to beating their head against the battlefield until it happens to work out. Getting a cap.
So that captain's cap right there, Farfelu getting, that is a go mode item. That's one of several we're going to need in order to complete the game. And that's another, the Mobius Crest for sale in Windia.
Very, very nice.
So with that Mobius Crest, Farfelu is going to be able to do this check right here from the Fireberg Hermit's house. This check actually not considered to be in logic, as the type of logic rules we're working with this tournament don't take into effect crest warping from town to town.
But ipsTee, finally finishing that mine's battlefield, not only getting the level on Kaylee, but also obtaining mega grenades. That is big. Another one of the go mode items, and such a good source of damage early on. The only downside being that it splits the damage between all of the enemies that are on screen.
Okay, so T with those mega grenades are going to be able to take out pretty much the rest of the battlefields in this area.
And that will set them up quite well. Having the extra money from the rest of those battlefields.
Yeah, the extra money and the extra firepower. We love to see firepower early on Ben.
T getting the cap. While that is the normal exit battlefield, if I remember correctly, the Squidite and Sphinx.
Yeah, I believe so. That is where we would normally get our exit spell, but today, being a blue battlefield,
it is a blue one.
See what it has.
That's good to know. Steel Helm was what was on Hermit. So not a big item, but it does give a little bit more defense. Could be the difference between life and death on really bad rolled fights. White coming out of that exit battlefield.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. No siege yet, so Farfelu not going to be able to use that white spell to its fullest. Looks like T has found Falls Basin, and he's setting up the pillars to do the crab fight. And Flare.
Ooh.
Flare
Nice.
coming out of another battlefield. So the two strongest magics that you want to use throughout the entire game, pretty much back to back in the Aquaria region.
That's very useful. I am surprised that T went and did that fight. Maybe they were hoping to get a little bit extra XP before dealing with Crab. But it wasn't needed to push that pillar into place. They could have moved it up one more square, pushed it over, and then pushed back down instead of taking that fight. And it arguably could have taken a little bit less time to do it that way.
Yeah, but that crab going down super fast. And it having the river coin, which will unlock the Firebird region for T. But that crab being weak against axe attacks, so between the Megas on Ben and the Giant Axe on Kaylee, which is a tier 3 axe, that crab really didn't stand much of a chance.
No, as long as they don't roll really bad attacks, simple.
Yep. Farfelu got a Tree Wither out of what I can only assume was another blue battlefield. So he will be in a position to send Kaylee's mom to the Minotaur when they find Foresta.
And that's quite funny. Farfelu actually did exactly what I was talking about and then walked into the fight anyways. Got to see that just before it faded out.
It's okay. Early game, you take any kind of free experience you can get.
Oh yeah. And with the megas, that's actually they did not pick up the megas. That's right. It was T that ended up grabbing those.
But I can't imagine Farfelu going without that blue battlefield and those levels on Kaylee for long.
No. I can't either. But he did. Yeah, he did already get both Flare and White, so maybe. Oh, wait, that's right. No, you already said no seeds yet, so he hasn't picked any of those up. Dang.
It's nice to see all these battlefields in the Aquaria region being relatively scaled. Looks like all of the Aquaria region battlefields are in Aquaria at least. So our runners can get some experience on Ben and kind of actually be level set going into the Firebird region.
Yeah, and having all of these battlefields relatively early not only gets the levels on Ben, but it also pushes forward to that 16 battlefields quest if it is ever necessary to do. I don't think they'd be going after that. I would think my thought on it is I would go with Kaylee because the Mines Battlefield, Crystal of Earth, and the 5 mini bosses, that's a lot more simple than getting 16 battlefields. But if you're having to be pushed through those battlefields just to potentially progress, then it wouldn't be too far-fetched to see maybe a full 41 Rubin.
Actually, I'm willing to lay down here some odds. I'm actually predicting possibly our runners thinking about taking a level 23 Kaylee to the Dark King just because he has the power to cure. These quests are not gonna be really easy in terms of saving time.
And Farfelu finally going back for that Mines Battlefield. At this point, I would think should be strong enough to be able to take it down pretty quickly, as long as the
White,
enemies don't screw
yeah.
around. And yeah,
So
There's
Farfelu
Necro.
stopping off at Foresta, yup. Not only pushing Kaylee's mom to the level forest, but also getting the free in to restore all his magic charges.
More battlefields.
Yup, see, giving us our first look at the Fire Continent, where it's just a layout of battlefields. Finding a Windia level battlefield with these golden Skulliers.
Looks like they should be able to clear that pretty quick, though.
As long as these enemies don't roll anything too bad, the flare on Ben is going to take care of all of the problems.
Gas mask off the Fireberg vendor. Not the greatest, but not horrible.
Oh, and swapping to Ruben.
Interesting. I'm going to pick up some seeds. Oh, just straight up all of them. All money going into it. They haven't run into Aquaria yet, have they?
No, they haven't run into Aquaria, but we've also seen a lot of gold battle tiles. So I imagine Farfelu thinking he's just gonna restock on gold once he runs into one of those. The seeds being what's gonna drive a lot of his firepower right now.
Oh yeah, with both flare and white. Kind of need those.
Right. T and Farfelu both in this double Steno, double Ifrit battlefield. This is the one that normally occurs after the Lava Dome clear. Farfelu out of it first, getting a magic mirror. He's gonna get 2 checks now in level forest. He's gonna get the prize off the old man, which is the Gaia armor. So that'll give him water resistance as well as poison and sleep resistance. And also get a bunch of shards.
They're both in it, so that does level up Ruben once. Getting Libra Crest for the effort.
Yep. So I don't think we've seen the Libra Temple yet. But at least we'll be equipped to go and visit the old man for his item with that Libra Crest when we do. And we'll be able to push Phoebe to that Wintry Cave check.
Farfelu heading back. Did we see it and it just not register? Oh no, going for mines. Okay.
Let's see. Mine has 3 checks that he can clear. The item from Ruben after the Jin fight. He's got megas, so he's gonna be able to save Dad, and he'll be able to go to Mine 2 afterwards to get the item.
Yeah, the original Charm Claw chest.
Yep. Also, not opting for Jin skip. We're gonna take this fight. With Ruben and Ben having white, this is not gonna be too much of a problem.
No, it does not seem like it. But that paralysis stopping the seed is pretty mean. T picking up some seeds to work with, finally. that vendor.
I think it's a staple of every Mystic Quest runner to have the vendors basically run away from you as you're trying to buy the item off of them.
Ooh. Looks like Far is definitely looking for refreshers by opening every single one of those. Three of which I believe were all heal potions.
Yep. And after that Jin fight, getting rewarded with with the Sun Coin as well. So Farfelu having access to everywhere now, and also getting a Quake in mind too. We're not gonna get to see that Quake spell get used for pretty much anything.
At least not intentionally. If we happen to get hit with confusion and it decides to roll, you're going to see some screen shake. Don't worry. That's normal.
So T also now coming to mind. He's gonna love this play, getting rewarded with the items that Farflu's already gotten.
Yes, opening up the rest of the map is going to be very beneficial. Getting the magic ring out of the free chest after Sun Coin, that it's arguably a good pickup. It does give you a little bit more defense, but the status benefit that you gain from it is non-existent because silence doesn't work. Getting Apollo helmet off the steel shield chest.
And a Venus shield from Tristram over in his Bone Dungeon check. So not only will our runners have paralysis resistance now, Tristram will also push himself forward to Fireberg, the bar in the hotel, where you can get his second item.
Which will be very beneficial because if they need to go back for some extra seeds, hey, two birds, one stone.
Yep. And Farfelu playing out Bone Dungeon pretty much like how everyone else does. You really just scout the chest on your way through the Bone Dungeon. Bone Dungeon in Go mode, Bone Dungeon in regular mode is pretty much the same. All the checks are on path.
Picking up that
meteor. Yeah, you got a meteor out of the last check before Flamerous here.
Yeah, where you normally get Quake.
Yep. And then just having his partner there chuck a life spell over at Flamerous. Flamerous being undead will fall to life all the time, as long as your partner is above level 10. If you're higher than the level of your undead enemy and you're casting life on them, life will automatically kill them unless it misses.
Pulling exit. That is very nice.
Ah, the good book. Exit is going to save our runners a lot of time. It's going to speed this up immensely because now they're not going to need to backtrack their way out of the dungeons.
Multi-key. So you could logically check the old man, which they've already done. It was the steel helmet.
Yeah, I was going to say now our steel helm's in logic. But still no sword and no axe. So no axe means no access into Alive Forest. No sword means no access into Ice Pyramid. The Aquaria vendor having fire, we're not going to need that today.
That is quite unfortunate. But there is Volcano. We get a free check here, and with their levels, I believe they should be able to deal with Medusa as long as there's nothing too harmful there. And grabbing a Wake Water in that free chest. And it does look like they're heading to Medusa.
Yeah, this is a good play. Arguably it's gonna be roughly the same amount of time, whether they go to Medusa or not. And they're kind of running out of things to do at this point, honestly. Getting that Wake Water is gonna open up the back of Spencer's place.
No safety
Uh,
save.
Level 12 and level 15, White and Flare.
And paralysis resistance.
Uh, I, I
Yeah.
like I like the commit.
I think I'd be a little bit too scared to just full send it right here. I think I would at least put a save just in case Medusa decides to roll petrification.
I think that's what the free press here to restart button is. Because even with Ruben going down, oh, and that's gonna be a wipe there to Medusa on Farfelu's side. You hate to see it, but Mystic Quest is very, very kind in its restart of battles in the sense that it just pretty much puts you back at the state that you came in, minus any items that you've used through the battle.
Interesting that Far's going full white.
That's true. I like, he's got a flare. I'd like to see him use that.
Yeah. Medusa, as far as I remember, doesn't resist resist fire. It's just, I believe the dogs on the side are the ones that do.
T through with his Bone Dungeon fight, so he has all of the goodies now, plus exit.
Was that noble armor? Yes.
Noble armor. Yep, but we've already got Gaia armor, so that's a dead check right there.
Yep. But
so that means that so Farfelu, yeah, progressing with the Wake Water, which means that our progression is either gonna be on Spencer or it's gonna be on Ruben's dad. I don't think we went back to Fireberg yet with that.
I do not believe that I saw that, and it hasn't cut out recently, so I don't think it would have happened during that.
No.
No swag jumps at all. Dang.
Yep, and Cure on Spencer, so we know where our progression is. Chat helping us out here. Chat pointing out that the dogs that accompany Medusa are actually weak to fire. So there's actually two sets of doggos in the game. The first set being weak to fire, and I'm not sure. You guys can check me on this one. I don't know if the second set is also weak to fire as well.
Okay.
They're either weak to fire or they resist fire. I don't remember which one it is specifically. Farfelu, though, thawing out the Aquaria, which also gives him access to the upper ledge in the Aquaria region. And this one has Lava Dome in it, so this is going to be at least 2 more checks for getting.
Life chest giving steel
yep.
shield. Ugh. Hate to see it.
So that's one down, and we're gonna get at least one more here in the middle section.
The original moon helm.
Yeah. Choosing to fade that Skycoin fragment right there. That action right there telling me he's gonna come back and he's probably gonna open the path to Hydra at least, or at least go into the basement.
Cupid
and that
locket.
Moonhelm chest. Ooh. Yep, getting the Cupid locket. You always love to see a Cupid Locket come out because that's blind, silence, and confusion resistance now on Ben.
Yep. So sorry, sorry everybody who did want to see Quake happen. It's not gonna, unless they miss menu.
All right, so it's like farfelu came back, opened the door to Hydra, and then exited out.
Yep.
It is.
Excalibur. Ooh. Finally a sword. We can go into Ice Pyramid.
Okay, so this is gonna be huge for farfelu. Ice Pyramid has 4 checks. Looks like the lobby right there. Normally holding your magic mirror, having heal instead. And I guess we're coming back for that red chest later on. So the way the flags are set up for this tournament, our runners need, in addition to the normal go mode items, they need 24 sky coin fragments. Those sky coin fragments are all dispersed in what would normally be brown boxes. So if you see a brown box that's been turned into a red chest, you know that's gonna be a sky coin fragment. There's 40 of them out there in the world, and we need to find 24 of them in order to fill our sky coin and open the last door to the Dark King.
Yes, and right now the only 2 items missing are Thunder Rock and Dragonclaw. If we end up finding those, then it's just Shards race.
Yep, and I have to say, as a Mystic Quest runner, you love it when you're in Dragonclaw Go mode because it means that all of the areas that you don't want to go to, you no longer have to. Pazuzu's Tower, a Giant Tree, Mount Gale are all off the table as far as progression goes when you're in Dragonclaw Go mode.
Yep. And we did get to see just before the little cutout from farfelu. They did end up finding some refreshers finally. So maybe we'll see some. We may end up seeing some duping if they're going to stick with Ruben for a little bit. Because that's quite deep in the pyramid to be able to use as a farm. And T heading to pick up their Excalibur. After, I guess, clearing this for another level.
Yep. Meanwhile, farfelu still going through Ice Pyramid, skipping the prison check in the 4th floor, opting instead to just full send it through the pyramid, which is totally normal.
Yeah, especially with having flare, it's just going to be flare, defend, done.
Yeah, this golem is not gonna stand much of a chance. Only in phase 2 though, but that's okay. That second flare is gonna take out the rest of golem. Sometimes with our flag set being 75 to 125% of max HP, you could get 125% golem, and he's gonna be able to stand up to 2 flares. Not much more than that, though.
There's D-Claw.
Okay, Dragonclaw behind the Golem, so Golem is hard required. Flu's still picking up coins.
Charm.
Looks like he's at 13 right now, so he's about 11 short of go. Farfelu exited out, so that tells me that he was going to come back anyway and do all of the left side ice pyramid checks now to pick up all of the coins that he was able to scout on his way up the pyramid.
An ice pyramid, along with lava dome and the alive forest tree, usually having the largest density of shards that you can pick up. So definitely worth going through these areas, even if you're not going to fully complete them. Yeah, chat popping the question on why the shards aren't indicating a total on Farf's side. That's been bothering me as well.
Yep. So one of the very, very recent additions to the randomizer, and shout outs to our dev Wildham, also our tracker for tonight, tracking all the inventory items for both players. But his latest addition to the randomizer was giving us a nice little count of shards that'll pop up underneath that sky coin fragment, so that we would know exactly how many they have as they progress through the randomizer. Good for both runners, trackers, comms, really everyone. The only thing I can think of, and because I've seen this too during some of my runs, is that sometimes if your partner doesn't have an it's been being overwritten sometimes by what your partner has. So, like if your partner has like arrows, in Phoebe's case, or stars with Tristram, sometimes that number shows up instead of the actual shard count. So it could just be that Ruben's Morningstar sprite is covering up the Skycoin fragment sprite with the number.
It could be. I haven't seen, or I've seen the number overlay from the partner's weapon before, but I haven't seen it be completely blank. So it may have just been one of those random issues that have popped up. Getting a Gemini crest off.
Squidite.
Yep.
Yep. So Winter Cave fully done now. Farfelu checking left side of Pazuzu's lobby before climbing the tower to know if he needs to go all the way down to the second floor.
I believe we ended up missing what was off Phoebe. But hopefully we'll be able to see it at some point with T going through. T about to get their Dragonclaw, so the rest of the easy checks are probably in the future.
I think based on what I'm seeing here, Phoebe may have given him an axe. So that at least puts the live forest and the tree in play.
Ooh.
All right. So now the two questions right now on our mind is
Oh,
where's the
there's an
bird?
axe.
Oh, there's the
sure.
axe. Never mind.
At least that right there is a confirmed axe. not needing to switch to that claw because weak enemies being hit with flare, they're gonna die.
Yep. So okay, and there's our bird on the 4th floor.
Venus Key. I believe that's the flare chest.
That's either the flare or the Excalibur chest. I'm not sure which one. My vanilla memory's a little hazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this looks like a shard hunt right now from farfelu.
Oh yeah. Partially setting up just in case they do have to kill Jerkbird himself, but it does seem more shard hunty, just to make sure that they're topped up for when they do have go mode. Unfortunately, not being able to go and check on the ship to see if they do need to get more shards or not, but well, we'll see. Going right to a live forest for the rest of them, yeah.
Well, this is great because in a live forest, you can generally count on it having a bunch of shards. He'll also be able to do the treehouse check. He's got all the crests. So that quest that we talked about earlier, somebody's hiding in the tree houses for Ruben. There are 3 tree houses, each accessible by their own crest, Libra, Gemini, or Mobius, and one of them is gonna hide an NPC that you can talk to.
Yeah, life. Very nice pull. That's going to give some safety for Dark King and any other fights that they might need to take. Old man. And not exiting out, they are definitely going into tree.
Or at least the lobby of tree, because the lobby sometimes contains some shards for our runners. T going through Wintry Cave right now, and T into the Squidite fight. This is not going to take any measurable amount of time.
Oh. And here is the duping for the refreshers. Doing that here, I'm going to guess that Far is potentially planning to go after Ghidra.
Yep, this basically tells us that Far is committed to Ruben at this point. So the way what Far is doing is duplicating or increasing his refresher count right now. And the way this works is you simply call up your item menu on Ben. You have him use the item you want to duplicate, and then you run. Because somehow, in the game's engine, it adds the item to your inventory, and then you use it. But if you run, you never use the item that it added to your inventory, and so the game just thinks that it was there the whole time.
That's okay. Spaghetti code works very well for speedrunners and randomizer fans. So, and he only has to do this. I missed it, but I think actually that's the last one. Never mind.
I mean, let's be real. It's not a true Final Fantasy without some sort of item duplication glitch.
Oh yeah. So in order to fully finalize this, they're going to pick up an item, and that triggers the quest.
Yeah. So the way these quests trigger, or the finalization happens, there has to be some sort of inventory grab. So just duplicating and running is not going to trigger anything. You actually have to get an item, whether it be a brown box, whether it's at the end of a blue battlefield tile and getting the item reward. Something has to trigger the inventory ad sequence for the quest to finish.
And very interesting right there. Farfelu actually climbed all the way up and went over the last drop down instead of just holding right. Because on that very last one, you actually can just hold right, and it'll automatically skip you down to that next those next ledges, and you can continue going and climb up without having to do that extra little bit. It's kind of like what happened a little bit earlier, where he was standing in front of that climbable wall and just immediately walked over to the next, or off the ledge and dropped.
Oh yes, because next to each climbable area, there's a kind of like a free drop zone. On T's side, T went back to Aquaria with his Venus key and opened up the chest next to Spencer. Unfortunately, only getting Thunder.
The weakest of the wizard spells. Oh. Looks like T decided against going for that. Going for tree. Having gotten all the, I believe, all the refreshers needed, right? Because I don't think they've done 16 battlefields, have they?
You know, I don't think they've done it either, but I mean, they've also been... T goes through his inventory really quickly, so we'll be lucky to see one of those checks. We'll be able to confirm it at some point.
No! He did the 16 battlefields. Okay.
So chat, there are 20 battlefields, I believe, in the game, which means that T's already cleared out 16 of them, and depending on how the randomizer rolls, they could be really low count battlefields and like onesie twosies, or they could just roll with like 4s and 5s, and you can like sit through some battle sequences.
Farfelu finally finishing off Ghidra. Let's see. Maybe this was the full play. Looks like they do not need any more shards because they're leaving that one. So I'm guessing that just means straight up go mode as soon as they get Thunder Rock.
Yeah, far is definitely okay. And we have an Aegis shield in the check behind Ghidra. So this check is kind of punishment in the sense that you have to beat your boss, and then you have to go all the way back down to the bottom to get to that check. That door is not gonna open until Ghidra is down.
Which, yeah, it's a little bit of a punishment, but it'd be even more punishing if you don't know that you can just do the drop downs and decide to try to exit. Because if you exit inside the tree, it doesn't pop you at the entrance to the tree. It actually removes you from the tile completely. So you'd have to go all the way back through and then get back into tree, go up that one level, and then make your way to the check. And yes, looks like our tracker Wildham has put down the shards themselves, and Farfelu is at 24. So it really is just the Thunder Rock that's needed.
All right, so now we get to do the really great thing as comms and place the Thunder Rock wherever we want it. So, Natalia, where would you like to see this Thunder Rock at?
Now, for content, Pazuzu.
Pazuzu, because Farfelu did fade that check earlier.
Yes. For the content, 100% Pazuzu. But to be nice to the runners, I'd say Dullahan, since they're both here, ready to go with it. And I'm guessing that they both are really, really hoping that this is the right play.
So looking at their inventory now, there's not a whole lot left to do. I'd like to see maybe an elixir,
Ooh,
and Kaylee's mom will have the Thunder Rock.
that would be nice. Ooh, Petrify. Chat, yes. T does need 4 more shards, but it looks like they're really just focusing more on trying to get the Thunder Rock, wherever that is, and then maybe potentially grabbing any extra shards needed, either on the way or on boat itself if it happens to roll with enough.
This Dullahan is not playing nice at all because Ruben has natural fire resistance and just got hit for about 600 hit points of damage.
But it looks like T should be able to get this right here. Yep. So T actually coming out, and it's Jumbo. Oh, that leaves Hydra and Pazuzu, I believe.
I think so. Between them, we've pretty much seen everything else. Because the only other check after that would be in Doom Castle, and you need the Thunder Rock to get there.
Well, there are two that are locked behind Thunder Rock.
Oh, the ship and the Mobius Crest
3.
check.
Yep, 3 behind Thunder Rock. Doom Castle's check, Mobius Crest check, and the Pazuzu. Or not Pazuzu, sorry. Boat.
All right, so if I'm T at 20 shards, and I'm in Lava Dome, if I'm gonna, well, and he just opened the door to Hydra, so this is a commit right here.
Yep. Full commit.
I'm thinking I'm gonna find shards on the path to Hydra, because that's kind of just how Lava Dome plays out 9 times out of 10. And whatever I don't find, if I'm like 1 short or 2 short, the boat, because you can always count on the boat to have your back with at least 1 shard.
Yeah, I think there's only ever been one time that the boat rolled absolutely no shards in any of the seeds that I've run.
So chat, we've got our divergent here. T is doing the play to Hydra, and Farfelu is going back for Pazuzu. And these are really our only 2 checks left. So somebody is going to be, somebody's going to find some progression here.
Yep. And there's a shard, 2 shard, 3 shard. So that's more than enough to guarantee. Actually, that is exactly enough to finalize. T is just in Thunder Rock Go mode. As soon as that's picked up, they as well as Farfelu could go. Unfortunately, Farfelu having to run all the way up, go back down in order to trap Jerkbird.
Yep. And I believe we saw our friend the bird over on floor 4, so he's actually gonna have to go to 4. Well, flip that switch on 6, go to 4, talk to him, and then go down to 3, hop across, and go back up to 5 to actually battle the bird.
Yeah, Farfelu setting up a save. I'm assuming, believing right off, hey, it's right here. I gotta go for it. And then, oops. I forgot I don't get to fight him right here.
This is interesting. Farfelu taking a slightly different path, going back up all the way to 7, and then back down. So this will also get you there. Arguably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Oh. T is also in the Hydra fight and is using Meteor. So Meteor is the second best spell in the game, and it is the only, it is the only one of the 2 strongest that Hydra does not resist. So if you're looking for the best damage, Meteor is 100% the way to go for Hydra. Second to that would be the white spell, which Ruben had, so it made it super fast.
Yeah. Meteor also has about a 3-second long animation versus Flare and White.
Elixir on Hydra. Oh!
But I am in a full agreement that I'll go for DPS with any of these major boss fights.
Oh, is this going to be it? Is it going to be T-Rock on...
Come on, T-Rock on Mom. Well, this is going to be great, too, because if it is Thunder Rock on Mom, Mom goes to Windia. So you go to... once you've given the elixir to Mom, or to Kaylee, whatever your flag set is, you then go to the Windia Inn to get their item. And if it's a Thunder Rock...
It is Thunder Rock!
All right. Well, Otto is right there in Windia. So you simply can give the Thunder Rock to Otto, who will build you your bridge.
So unfortunately, that means that Pazuzu is not required. But I believe that actually means that Farfelu... Oh, no. Yeah, Farfelu will get the final level for Kaylee, so we might actually see a switch there, but it may be too late depending on what Dark King has in store for us.
Yeah, so T now with a very commanding lead. He is in go. He's freed the ship. That's all he has left to do. Farfelu will have to sit through 2 crystal animations, and re-navigate Lava Dome and the Hydra fight. The Lava Dome trek is arguably probably going to be longer than the Hydra fight itself.
I don't think that. I believe didn't Farfelu actually open up Fire Hydra beforehand on their last dip?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. I remember seeing that, but it's still a pretty long path. And having Meteor, having White, and we got to see just pretty much how thin Hydra was. I think we saw T go into the battle, and by the time we acknowledged it, he was done.
Pretty much.
Just because though, just because he's in the lead now, and in go mode, going to the Dark King. 1934 levels. These are pretty optimal levels to have. We'll see if T takes one more level to get Ben to 20, which will give him 5 charges of wizard magic. All right, we're walking right by the enemies. That's not gonna happen.
Yep.
I mean, there are times when the Dark King rolls some pretty nasty things, and he can just straight say no, and then you've got the battle of a lifetime on your hands.
And with having Ruben, if Dark King happens to roll Petrification, that actually could be very problematic for T.
Also, no safety save going into the Dark King, so no matter what happens, whether it's one try or 100, we're here for it.
Very thin on phase 1. Oh, Doom. Oh.
But you're not going to see a whole lot of auto strats here on your partner. Your partner will only cast life if Ben is down. But Ruben's only way of healing or curing anything is life, so he'll have to manually cast it.
Dark King getting, I believe it was just a normal fire attack, doing almost nothing due to the Apollo helm on main character, and rolling very low damage because of it being just one of the lower enemies' fire attacks.
Oh no!
Oh.
Okay, so what we just got to witness there was Dark King basically saying no. That was a Doom Gaze on Ruben, which landed. Followed immediately by Doom Gaze on Ben. Ben is not going to outspeed the Dark King at level 19. That also landed.
And yes, chat, this is best of 3. This is the first game of that set. We will be seeing the other potentially 2 a little bit later after this match. But I will be excited to see all 3 matches, because it would just be great to see these 2, with the execution that they've done so far, go through and have 3 matches of just that. Because content. Farfelu finishing off Hydra. I'm gonna get their elixir and then go see Kaylee's mom. And finally make their way to Doom Castle. Having that Aegis shield might help. We haven't seen any petrification, but I have seen Dark King roll it on phase 3, phase 4 more often than not. That
So
phase
we've
2
also
was
got
good.
that phase 2 was intense. But we're also in a little bit of a situation with Ruben now. Dark King and Ruben looks like they're going for a speed tie, which means that there are gonna be times when Dark King can get off 2 attacks in a row, and we almost saw that with a double Doom Gaze.
Mm.
Also, T using the post seed creation option to change the Dark King phase 3 and phase 4 sprite. So instead of seeing our normal spider villain, we have the Dragon Lord.
I have seen plenty of these. Randomizing the Dark King sprite is probably one of the absolute most fun things with our randomizer here, and there are pretty good ones. So if that's something that you guys in chat like, try it out. Phase 4, Dragon Lord. Oh no, confusion on Ruben.
Oh no.
Phase 4 wipe due to confusion. Ow.
So if you're farfelu, this is the exact kind of Dark King that you wanted to roll. Something that was gonna give huge amounts of problems, unblockable things, random speed things, instant death things. This is what's gonna allow farfelu really back into the game.
Yep.
I mean, literally one more wipe from T and it's all tied up. Like,
That's what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like that draining attack ended up critting and doing enough damage to one shot. Yeah. And that right there is just the nature of this game in general. One crit, no matter what level you or your partner are at, the HP values, one bad crit could completely end your run. But farfelu getting to Dark King now as T goes into phase 3 for the second time. It really is going to come down to if T takes one more wipe and farfelu happens to stay, get just the right luck, we may have quite the match.
right, so right there, farfelu also finding out now that Dark King has Doom Gaze, and it's hitting with some ridiculous accuracy.
As you
In the vanilla,
stated.
what's interesting is in the vanilla game. Oh, and there's another crit on a drain attack on T's side. In the vanilla game, Dark King does not have an instant death attack. Zoo, the refight right before it, does, arguably making him and Pazuzu some of the hardest bosses in the game.
And there it
And
is.
that's time on T's side. All right, so T taking game 1 in this best of 3 matchup right here.
Very good showing from both runners there. That was almost or actually, I believe for Farfelu, it was minus going through tree. It was pretty much a full run for everything.
And here we are, joined by T. How's it going? GG's, man.
Yeah, hi. GG to farfelu. And yeah, what a seat. What a ducking. Shout out to that for nearly critting every draining attack.
So, what was going through your mind right as you took the second wipe to Dark King there?
I was shouting. I was really mad. I mean, even doing the confusion attack 2 times in a row, but 2 times in a row on Benjamin after critting, then Benjamin with the drain attack, because drain attack apparently always crits. Yeah, that was something. The first test I said, well, Doom, yeah, you can get double doomed, that happens, but with the confusion, because yeah, he has to hit the right target for that, and of course he does, and then of course Doom doesn't get out of it after the second one and hits himself too with the Blizzard attack, which also is basically 1 hit for free from the Dark King. It was pretty unfortunate how that happened.
Yep, and Farfelu finishing now too. And joining us, GG's Farfelu.
Hi, GG.
GG, farfelu.
Yeah, that rock was something.
Yeah.
That everything was something.
I mean, when I looked at the quests, I already knew that this was something special, because even the quests were really terrible, actually, for both characters. So
Yeah, you're right.
I was looking for quite a while for some refresher grind, but nope, nothing gonna happen. Then I had to grind, or we had to grind the battlefields, which is never feeling great. And yeah,
that's why you're level 19. You did the battlefield quest.
Did you find some refreshers?
Yes, I think.
Where?
Pyramid. Pyramid. I think, I don't know. I found 3 chests of refresher and then just decided to dupe them.
Ah, okay.
Yep. Pyramid had some refreshers in it, and I believe you also ended up picking up some in Tree when you went to deal with Ghidra.
Yeah. Yeah, and after I checked the first one for Pyramid, I decided to skip refreshers at this point. So yeah, that was that. And then I was already pretty far into the battlefields because I didn't find any refreshers early on. So I decided to go for the low encounter battlefields first and see how far I get there. And then I finished the quest that way.
Yeah, I wasn't sure myself which quest I would do for Ruben, because I probably spend some time for looking for refreshers. But I don't know, 15 battlefields seems like a lot of time as well, so I suppose we might be about even for this one.
Yep.
Gentlemen, I have a question for both of you. Were we hard committed to Ruben pretty much no matter what, or was there a time where it was we were swapping between the idea of taking Kaylee to Dark King?
Um,
Uh,
I
Go first.
was okay. Yeah, I was no, I was going with Ruben just because of the attack power. To be honest, I did consider when I got Katie level 41 after Pazuzu, but Meteor is not as good, so I just decided to keep Ruben for that.
Yeah. I didn't consider Katie because I didn't know it was 100% or nearly 100% seat. So I was already so committed to Ruben with all the battlefields I did that, yeah, it was decided at this point. I see the benefits if you don't get Phoebe of Kaylee at level 41 because she's basically guaranteed to outspeed Dark King at this point. And that's always makes the fight pretty safe, but also a bit slower because she only hits like for 800 or so with the meteor spell.
If you guys watch this one back, it's really interesting. You guys were changing positions a lot of times. Farfelu, you'd be in the lead sometimes. T, you would go back into the lead sometimes. And then T, you went on a battlefield grind where we kind of lost track of you for a little while because Farfelu kept on moving into different areas we hadn't seen. And then it just came down at the end to a go left, go right. Farfelu went to Pazuzu, you went to Hydra. T, was there a reason why we didn't see you go into Pazuzu's tower at all, besides the fact
Uh,
that the bird stuck?
when I first went into Pazuzu's tower, I couldn't lock him down because I had no X. So I would still have needed to do all the switches for him to lock down. I think he was in floor 4, so floor 6 and floor 4 switch, and then also go back to floor 5 and stuff. And I estimated that the walk to that is basically the same as to Hydra with the exit spell, because exit spell makes Hydra walk in a bit shorter because you don't have to backtrack from the switch. And Hydra is such a much faster fight than Pazuzu because of the Psych Shield that I decided before I go to Pazuzu, I definitely do Hydra.
Farfelu, any thoughts on your Pazuzu commit?
Yeah, that's very understandable how we handled that, but yeah, and I suppose I also did 3 before that, so it's another big time sink. The idea was we only have we only had bad checks left, so I was just super thorough and okay, I'm in this area, so I will just full clear and I suppose if I just missed the jet seed, it would already be done. So I decided to do Pazuzu before, um, before Hydra because of that.
Yeah, and that's reasonable. When you are already in the area, it always makes sense to just full clear it because running around on the world map actually is a big time sink, especially with the random locations on the world map. So I can totally understand that. Maybe would have done that too.
Yeah, I'd go -1 looking for rock or cap is pretty hard.
Yeah.
You just have to go where the items are. I was pretty good with that in my previous races, but it did not work today.
Yeah, as I said in the race chat already, when you only have these one item checks left and you're looking for the last piece of go mode, it's basically a lottery. It's whoever grabs the right ticket there wins probably. So yeah, I was lucky this time, but can be totally different next race.
And we will be definitely looking forward to this next race.
Talia, any questions for our runners?
I do not believe I have any at this point. I believe we've gone through all of that, and I think we're good with it.
All right, gentlemen, I'll let you share any last thoughts you have with the crowd. Farfelu, will go with you first.
All right. Well, it was nice to race you, T. Looking forward to our next races this Friday, by the way. Friday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And thank you, the Restream team. Hatax, LOD for comms and Wildham tracking. So yeah, see you Friday.
Yeah, I want to end on this note too. Thanks for helping us out of the stream at this early hour for all the American people there. So thanks Hatax, thanks Atelier, thanks Walter, thanks Speedgaming Crew, of course, as always. And yeah, I'm also looking forward. It was a really close race, a really fun race, I think. These long ones where basically in the end nearly everything gets cleared are always probably for the viewers the best experience. So I hope we have a long one too next time.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Twitch chat, please be sure to follow the runners. Get Farfelu and ipsTee. And also, Speedgaming Live, the in-person event, still has tickets available. Still looking for some volunteers. So if you're gonna be in the area, be sure to pick up a ticket. Fill out that Google form and volunteer. We're always looking for more people to help out at the event. Shout outs to our tracker Wildham. And on behalf of myself and my partner Atelier, thanks for having us. And we'll see you for the next one. Until then, be safe and take care, everybody.